Hello, hello, hello to anyone watching. Welcome to Mrs. Best Reviews. That is best with a three, not an E. We are here to recap Bravo's new show, Summer House Martha's Vineyard, Season 1, Episode 4. And we have our regular co host and thug, James, aka Watch Your Mouth Reviews, here with us as well.
Yeah, yes.
And he is personally very excited to recap this episode of Summer House. So,
Absolutely. I'm excited just because I kind of want to backtrack a statement or two on some of them. Not all of them, but some of them. And
some.
I think Mrs. Best is going to be surprised on who I'm going to retract my statement on.
Oh, well, now I'm excited because I want to see. We were, to anybody new joining, very. First, we were excited to recap the show because we're like, "Ooh, new show, all black cast, yay! We have to support it." But then, as we watched the show, we questioned things like the dynamic of the cast, previous relationships, just people's presence. There's a lot of things that we questioned, but this
Yeah.
episode was much better and made us definitely want to hang in there. So we will start what I did for my notes this week because I'm trying to be better every week for everybody. I went ahead and just took notes on people in the order that they were shown on the episode tonight to make things easier. So I'm going to start with Nick because in the previous episode, even though he has a history of DMing some of the ladies on the show, such as Jordan and especially Shanice, even going as far as to say, well, allegedly saying that Shanice is going to be his wife, we find out that he apparently has had a girlfriend. And I'm going to just go through Nick for most of the episode. And he's had a girlfriend, we learned throughout this episode, for not months, but years. Apparently, he's known this person. So he had pictures of her. At first, I thought she was fake. I will say that. And he had pictures of her. However, the pictures really did, like, at first I was like, this nigga is lying. But then they produced the pictures because, no disrespect, I thought that this man was either bisexual and or gay. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I just thought that was his preference. But apparently he's not. He has his girlfriend and he's been in everybody
um,
else's DM. So what are your thoughts, James?
I still feel that same way. I'm sorry. I still feel that same way. That's not going to change. However, what I will say is I actually understood why he did it. And let me explain why I understood why he did it. The reason why he kept his girlfriend a secret is because I feel that he was trying to make a mark on the show to start controversy. And I think this was egged on by the producers. I do not feel like he was intentionally trying to keep this girlfriend. Boy, because if you notice the dates of the DM, especially with Shanice's, I said that was recent.
Yes.
And that was after they signed their contracts.
Yeah.
So it made it seem like he was trying to tolerate her, but no, I think he was trying to stir up controversy. He just didn't know which one of y'all were with it.
Mm.
And that was my opinion change of him because I felt like he was doing this to kind of cover up something. But no, he was doing it because these producers egged him on to do so. And they didn't want him to mention that girlfriend, but he felt guilty. It seemed that, he's playing with this girl. But I still feel the same way. We have a
Well,
couple in mind in high school that actually resembles this dynamic. So that's why, and later on, this dude ended up coming out. So yeah, it's very possible.
well, I just thought it was weird. I thought the whole situation, that's a different perspective. I definitely did not think about the option of him potentially doing this just for something on the show, if that makes sense. And I think
Hmm.
if that is the case, it probably goes back to the dynamic of the cast and how they all know each other. So it could potentially be that. I just thought if that is the case with you and this girl, like, and he tried to get some bullshit excuse talking about she doesn't want the relationship. They don't want to display their relationship on like social media and Instagram and
It could
all
be
of
true.
you
That
don't
that
have
could be
to
true because
disclose
I can
your
relate to that. But at the same time,
you
I
don't
just
have
feel
to
like
disclose your relationship on social media like the person and all of this, but most people would at least disclose that they are in a relationship or have someone.
Right, but when it's Nick who we are questioning sexuality expert, you know, expertise, like I think that we're not missing the mark, we're just missing the information of him. I just feel like that's what it is.
Yes, I would
Because
definitely.
he's definitely marketable. That's what he's trying to do, and I think that that's the reason.
Well,
Like
he's
it.
a sports analyst, so his
So
job
because to keep it
requires
real
some
with
type
you,
of thought.
yeah, to keep it real with you, with the whole Rashida and Kirk situation when they first came on Love and Hip Hop, we didn't know Rashida was married. At least I didn't, and I knew who
Nobody
she
did,
was.
and she
And
literally.
I knew who she was. They played bubblegum at the dances and stuff in high school. I remember that. So yeah. So, but we didn't think she was married. So yeah.
Well, moving on with Nick. I had a random note. I don't know why I wrote this down, but that little swimming outfit he had, where he had on when they went to the pool, and he
Oh,
almost.
when he fell in the water.
Yeah, look.
Yeah.
Why did he look like Will Smith in the theme of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air getting dropped off to Uncle Phil's house in the theme song with the cap and stuff? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't unsee it now.
I'm trying to tell you the whole time me and my husband was watching, he was like, looking like Fresh Prince getting dropped off.
I honestly, you know what's interesting? I actually prefer him without the glasses.
Yes.
I want him to get contacts or invest in LASIK eye surgery. You need to stop wearing those glasses. That's not for you.
The glasses definitely are not for him. I'm
Yeah.
glad that we talked about that because
Hmm.
he's not a bad looking dude.
Right. When I saw him this
Glasses
episode without the glasses, I was like, oh, okay, so there is an appeal. So I was like, okay, I see that. So yeah, he needs to stop
But
wearing the glasses.
overall, the last thing I'd like to say with Nick, there was a little controversy with him lying and calling Shanice wifey. I don't think it's relevant at all.
I don't even want to talk about that.
But what I did find interesting is even though he was just basically exposed for keeping secrets and telling lies about this girlfriend, he still felt he was the best person to go and talk to Silas about being controlling, which I thought was interesting. Because why would anybody take advice from you when you pulled this coup with production, allegedly?
Let me explain that because I actually thought he was the perfect person to bring that up. And the reason being why I thought he was the perfect person, and had it come from anybody else, I think it would have been like almost like I won't say a toxic masculinity thing, but kind of like because you have Amir who is literally has his pick of the litter. You have Alex who's extremely quiet, and we don't even know him from a can of paint. He
Right.
has not made a splash anywhere in this episode. So,
Yeah.
and Preston is already messy enough as it is. So it's kind of like it have been expected to come from him. The fact it came from Nick, I actually appreciated it because it just seemed like it was more of a subtle conversation versus a messy conversation. And I
You
don't
know
really want
what
to
was
get messy.
interesting on that conversation that Nick
Hmm.
had, separate from the fact that it's like, eh, technically because of the stuff that he did, it's like you really shouldn't be talking right now. But I think that you are right that he was the right person to speak to Silas. I definitely agree with
Yeah.
that. What I what I found to be interesting though was my husband's perspective because he watched it with me.
Hmm.
And I looked at his face. And it's like, you can't, basically, you go into another man to talk to him about his wife. That's I guess for men, from my husband's perspective, like, I'm gonna acknowledge you, he said, but like, please don't get in
Well,
my
we
business.
have
So
to
I was
keep
like, that's
understand.
interesting.
We have to understand it is interesting, and he's absolutely right. But we have to understand they're on the show where this is being seen upon,
Yeah.
and had not one man brought it up, then we would have looked at the relationship differently, and then we would have looked
Mhm.
at each one of those men and judged them based upon why they're not bringing up certain things that he is doing that is looked
Mhm.
at as problematic.
Mhm. I do like
So
the idea though of when Nick did talk to Silas. I'm like, that's what people need though. Even if it's for a TV show, sometimes just talk to your friend or whoever and like
well,
let them
not to
know
cut
like
you off, but isn't Nick his friend, not Jasmine's?
I honestly I can't remember
I
because
can't
these
remember either. I
relationships
feel
are
like Nick
all
is his
so
friend.
weird.
Yeah, I think Nick is his friend, not Jasmine's. I could be wrong. I don't
He
know.
doesn't really interact with Jasmine at all, and she seems
That's
to interact with every person that she knows. So you're probably
yes,
right about that.
yes.
We have to look that up. Somebody look it up and leave it for us in the comments so we can be thorough. The next thing we're gonna move on to, it'll be really quick, like literally 10 seconds. Shanice went home, which we knew she was gonna do. She has a job, so she can only be there on the weekends.
I actually respected the realness of that.
Yeah,
I did. Because
yeah.
it didn't get perpetration. You know, I love when somebody look, I gotta go to work. I will be
Right.
back next
She needs her
weekend.
job. She doesn't know if this is going to have a season 2.
Absolutely.
She doesn't know.
So Shanice
So,
can come back next season, just based
yeah.
on this alone, because she doesn't perpetrate.
Yeah.
So
She was very of the cast, she's one of the more down to earth and relatable people, in my opinion. And it looks like yours too. So I'm gonna move it along with her because nothing really happened in the episode with her aside from her kind of being there for Bria to vent on, which we'll get to. The next person I'm gonna move on. I don't really have much to say about is Jordan. Not much happened with her this episode. Jordan, the model, the
I
one
know
that
what you're talking about. I'm trying to think of.
not much happened with her.
It seems like nothing much happened with her, but there was like a moment with her in a mirror, and I don't know if you were saving that for him.
Yes.
Okay, then I'm gonna stop talking. Okay.
She only had a moment really in this episode with the mirror, which we'll talk about. Then the other person she had kind of had a moment with was Alex, but it wasn't really to me.
That wasn't no moment. That was just kind of like
she was very quiet this episode. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of happy because I feel like, and the only thing I put in here for the notes on Jordan is she always brings up men and her job at Playboy in a negative light. And she seems very, very aggressive just in general, like when she's communicating with men. So I that's pretty much all I wrote down. Is there anything that you felt was important to discuss with Jordan? No, to see. Okay, so we on the same page. After her, Alex, same thing. I still don't care for him. I feel like he's very, very, he's not giving anything on this show.
He's not. And this is where I have an issue with him. Because it took another light-skinned woman to come into this room for you to sit up there and act like you had any of attention with any of these other people. So once again, I'm telling you, I know what I'm looking at when I see it. But he gives me that if he don't date men, he date white women.
I can't even say that I know what he gives at all, because honestly, but he hasn't done anything. And then the one moment that he did have on this show, he basically tried to tear down this woman for her past that he don't actually know anything about.
For nothing was proven.
Right.
Nothing was said. All she admitted to, which you wouldn't have had privilege to know of at the time, was that she did make the phone calls.
Yes.
That's all she admitted to. Yeah. So for you to judge her based on that, you were trying to find something on it, which is why when the person we're going to mention soon and this got to the house, I was like, see, I see you.
I saved the people just to discuss them for last. But Alex, that was about it that happened with him. I'm tired of him. If there is a season 2 of this show,
I don't want him back.
Like, people are slowly starting to watch the show more. If there is a season 2 of the show, Alex is probably one of the people I for sure am like, I don't want it. I don't need it. We don't care. I don't care to watch him stretching and doing yoga and stuff. Like, good for you, bro. But I don't get his existence on the show. The next person, I guess I shall discuss. F it. Let's do it out of order. Let's go to Amir. I feel as though this man has cried in every episode. And this has nothing to do with men crying. If he was a female that has cried in every episode, I would be equally annoyed because not much has happened on this doggone show for this grown-ass man to be crying in every episode. It just seems like what you said in the earlier episodes about him connecting and putting everything into understanding the Black experience. James said it, y'all. In the first recap, he is getting on my nerves. Every fucking episode, he is crying over some shit that doesn't make sense. And then
It was a few things he did that really just made me say, you know what? I
he
knew this was coming. I knew you was going to disappoint me because I
he
actually like him.
said what bothered me, and I was actually slightly offended, is, and I'm looking at my notes because I don't want to mess it up. He said that he's having trouble when he was crying, processing his own self-discovery. Fine. But then he went further to say, when he elaborated on what he meant by that, was that he now sees that there are different levels to Blackness, and it's not the level that he thought, and he now understands he can be himself.
And
I was like, I got what he was trying to say. You see that Black isn't just that stereotype, but it's like you had to have been thinking of us in your mind
in that way. Exactly. That's
those
exactly
negative
what I said the first
stereotypes.
episode.
And then you have the audacity to fucking cry about it on national television. That turned me off. I was like, one, you're crying like a little bitch every episode over shit that's like,
yeah,
okay. And then two, then you basically, I just felt offended.
No, it wasn't. That was problematic that he said that. But the problem that I have is I called that episode 1. I said he is going to say something or he is going to do something that is going to basically drive a wedge between his being Lebanese and then him being Black. And the fact that his only perception of Black was one specific thing.
Yeah.
Irritated me to my core. I was so, and I called it as soon as I almost texted you, and it was like, I told you. I said he was going to do it, and I knew he was going to do it. And let me break it down for you. The problem that I have with people who are of mixed race and they don't identify with the Black side of that mixed race, or they always pigeonhole it into one specific thing, you truly don't know how offensive you sound when you say things like that, because we are not all the same.
No.
As much as white people try to box us in as one type of Black person that we are. Because I can remember going to college in Arizona when I left the Bay Area. And there was one time where I worked with a lady at Starbucks. I won't say her name because, I don't know. I don't want people like that. But she had told me, she goes, "Why don't you talk Black?"
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "What does that mean?"
Yeah.
She goes, "Oh, I just, Black people have like this way of speaking that is just, it's different, and you don't talk like that." I said, "Can you explain to me what that means? I'm going to ask you this again because I am confused. What did that mean?" And I knew what she was talking about, but I was playing along with it. And she was like, "Oh, just kind of like ghetto, like thuggish." And I said, "So you think all Black men talk like that?" She goes, "All the ones I know talk like that." I said, "Well, you need to broaden horizons. You need to look further than that."
We're beautiful people full of many differences. That's something, I heard at our high school. Me and James went to high school together, and I heard that often. You don't sound like you Black. You talk like a white girl. Hey, I came from one of the Blackest neighborhoods to that school, so I can't.
It's all about your environment and how you were brought up, because my mama told me I couldn't talk like that.
Yeah, my parents told me that.
Yeah, my mom said I cannot speak like that. My mom said, she goes, "You will speak proper. I don't want to hear slang terminology. I do not want to hear anything that comes out your mouth that is not looked up."
And it's been immensely helpful as an adult. So
absolutely.
Helps
I feel like if I did not speak like this, or if I did not have the demeanor that I have, I don't feel like I would have been as affluent as I am today, or as astute as I am today, because people don't understand words have power regardless of what it may appear to be or what it looks like. And that's what I want people to understand. So when Amir gets on his camera and says that, it was so nice to be in this experience and identify with so many different versions of Black people, it was all like, yes, there are very many versions of us. Yes, there are very many different things about us. Yes. And the problem that I have is that your Lebanese mama probably went with one of the most ignorant of Black people there probably is out there, for you just to have this one mindset, because that was fed to him. There is no way I'm looking at this man in Austin, Texas, of all places.
Right.
And thinking that is your only perception. When I've been to Austin and I have seen
The black
all
people.
kinds of different kind of black people that are there. Now you
Yes.
can't tell me that you only have one or two interpretations of black people. Sorry, no,
Mhm.
you're not going to convince me of that. You just were only exposed because it's probably that's your Lebanese side's perception of black people, and they just gave it to you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I was hoping that Amir would give more, but yeah, it's getting obnoxious. Not everything that you do and everything that you say has to be connected to the black experience. It just doesn't. But you know, once again, the last note I have on Amir, he did mention with Bria, which I'll discuss later, he was another person to confirm that people, I guess, expected her boyfriend to only be coming for 3 days. But I will get to that. The next person I'm gonna get to is gonna take like 10 seconds. Preston, once again, just there. I thought it was cute, him doing the little exercises with the men, but don't.
I'm sick of him being in that kitchen and in his room.
That's the only
And
places we see him.
I'm sick of him doing that. I am sick of him doing that because I promise you, I have not seen that man anywhere else outside of that exercising. I have not seen that man anywhere else but that kitchen and that bedroom.
Yep, yep. And that's pretty much it for Preston.
Right.
Um, look, I know that they were hell bent on booking someone part of the LGBTQ community, but why does it always have to be a gay man? Can we get a lesbian woman or somebody who is transgender and dating?
No,
Anybody but Preston at this
no.
point, because
Because you
Preston
know
is on
what?
my nerves.
Bravo, like I said, people in the call center. I know y'all watching this. Bravo likes to do this to aggravate people and put black people in this pigeonhole that they like doing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't want to see Preston back next season. If we have to go through this, I
Mhm.
need one that is more, not necessarily influential because he doesn't even need to be that. I need one that's more engaging.
Yeah. I'm
I need,
wondering because of maybe Preston's career or something, he don't want to do too much. I'm like, maybe
what is
that's
this?
a
He's
part.
an attorney.
He's an attorney?
Yes.
Oh yeah. So he definitely can't be on a show like this, in my opinion.
That's why we're only
Yeah.
seeing him in the
Yeah.
kitchen and in his room is because he's an attorney and he don't want to mess
Do
up.
too much.
Look, everybody can't be Kendra from Love and Hip Hop. I get that. Like we're not saying that,
Well,
but at
she's
the same,
practicing less law.
but I'm just saying, I understand that. But what I'm saying is
Mm.
that why come on a show like this if you're not gonna give? You can. There's a way you can do it. Phaedra Parks does it really well,
She
where
does.
you
She does.
where you could be something completely different and still
Mm.
probably be just as successful. Phaedra still has her office,
This is true.
so it's like you know, I don't know what to say about him, but I'm just tired of seeing him.
But
We
yeah,
can,
we definitely, I think we could come to a consensus that we do not want him back. Um, we will not be wanting him back whatsoever. So before I get into the new people, we'll go over Silas, Jasmine, and Bria. Which one should we go over first? Because they kind of
go over Jasmine because she wasn't much of anything this
Jasmine.
episode.
Here's my beef issue with Jasmine. I understand she's supposed to be the one that knows everybody, but I like her less and less each episode.
I was just gonna say that. I was
Each.
just gonna say that. And this is one of the people because I started this episode, I started this series when we started. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about her. There are
Mhm.
moments where I thought she was fair. The Mariah thing when she told her she had to leave, I thought that was a fair, even though she was hard for her to do it, she still was fair.
Mm.
Now I'm starting to feel like you're a puppet.
Yeah, she's hella messy. That's pretty. Okay, so there's a couple things that happen with Jasmine. She has Summer and Jason coming, which we'll discuss last because they're
Mm-hmm.
new additions. So that was interesting. I feel like she's they're taking this little house thing, like the people
You
hosting
would
a
have
house a little too damn far, in my
you would have
opinion.
thought that was their house.
They're
You
acting
would
as
have
if
thought
this
you
is
would
the
have
house they
yes.
got a loan for. Like
Mm-hmm.
they are acting as if this is their actual owned property. And I'm just over it. Just because you're married does not make you guys the matriarch and patriarch of this group. It does not make you the leaders. It does not make you anything. Hell, when you go on a trip, I just went on a group trip on my birthday. The Airbnb we booked, it wasn't in my name. but I paid my part. The other girl paid her part. So it's just about who books it in their name. That's all I'm saying. I don't know who paid for what, but I guarantee they did not pay for this. I guarantee Bravo paid
Bravo
for
paid for
this.
this, and we not gonna act. And the other thing I don't like about Jasmine is that Jasmine, in the moments where she needs to speak up, she is silent. In the
She's
moment where
messy.
she,
She moves like a snake. She's
yes,
silent in every moment. But then when she's privately with somebody, or her husband, Mariah, whoever, she has so much to say. Just a side note, I can't stand heifers like that. Why you go move all sneaky and sly and then smile in my face? And that's what Jasmine keeps doing. Shady stuff to people and then
yes,
smiling in their
exactly. The
face
same thing with Brie. She does it to Bria mostly. I've seen
all
it
the time.
where
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, so you was in agreement with everybody about how this woman moves, but then you he in her face and shit. Like, I need you to pick a side.
Right. First it's with the dogs.
Yeah.
Now it's with this, and I was grateful the producers did show that she did let them know he would have to be there for a week because he's coming from so far.
Are we getting into that,
We
or are we not?
we may as well, because it's all
Okay.
going to mesh with these three. That's why I
Right.
said
That's
their
why.
names
Yeah. Okay.
together. There's no way to go over each of them. But as for Jasmine, we're pretty much done. Pretty much she was messy as hell when it came to Bria. And it
Mm-hmm.
looked like that controlling aspect with her spouse did come up and have an issue because he was the one. At first, she was cool. She said something to him to check. In the tone she used, it seemed like she was trying to check if he was cool with it. And he's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
why does it? And I'm
Let
kind
me
of
explain
like,
something to you, because I know this happened after the fact of this scene, but I don't believe this is how it happened in the actual real time. Let me explain something to you. So that scene when he was confronting Bria about him staying a week, and they had that conversation in the car. Remember, she had pulled him outside.
mm-hmm.
I said this on Instagram. I need to know how that conversation in the car started,
Mm-hmm.
because I do not feel. I think Bria used the wrong word, but I don't think she was wrong in what she was saying. I think racist was not the word she should have used. Ignorant is the word that she should have used, because Silence is our age. Let's
She
make sure
never
we're clear.
used the word racist,
She said, well, here's the thing. She
but
didn't
she
use the
did
word
say that she feels it's a race thing.
thing. Yes. And that's why I said I need to know how that conversation in the car started. Because I feel like that conversation happened first, and then this is the aftermath of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm saying I don't think she was wrong. I think ignorant was the word she should have used. She'd be like, you're racially ignorant.
I think that I definitely think you're right that the conversation did begin, and there's parts of that conversation we obviously missed. What I do know is what they've tried to do with this show is discuss Black history, the history of Black people in Martha's
Mm-hmm.
Vineyard. They've made it very clear on and off camera that they want the show to be about African Americans, and they want African Americans to be
Mm-hmm.
shown in a more positive light.
But
So
that
I
is
don't doubt that Silas or anybody in the house could have had an issue with her white European
no. I don't
man
think so
coming.
either. Let me hold on. I sorry to cut you off because I needed to say this. I don't think it was anything of it being an issue. The issue that I have is what he said. I want Black women, preferably, to marry Black men. And this is my problem with Silas. Now, I changed my whole research on Silas. That has never been an issue, Silas. That has never been an issue of Black women wanting to marry Black men. Black men don't want to marry Black women.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for
And that
saying
is the
that.
issue
Thank you.
here. And the fact that you said that out your mouth as if that was the problem. And this is why I said I need to know how that conversation started with him and Bria in that car. Because I feel like he pressed that issue to her because she's with a white man.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
That's not
expressed
his business if he did do that. To
exactly.
tell her who to date at all in any
And that's why
capacity.
I felt that with her bringing that conversation back to him, she just didn't know how to properly state what her problem was, because it wasn't that he was staying for 5 days. It was the simple fact that Silas, in his mind, kept imposing this viewpoint that he wants Black women to be preferably with Black men. And that was a slight to her because they were in conversation of her talking about her boyfriend and that he's German.
Honestly, I feel like the whole situation is handled weirdly. Like I've actually had a friend that tried to make a problem with my husband, but really she just kind of got a drinking problem and can't admit it. But like, you don't need to talk to my spouse about like issues. Like, if you feel offended, and she is Jasmine's friend, right? If you feel offended with something that your friend's husband said to you, that's the perfect opportunity to tell her. Is I wouldn't have even talked to Silas if I was Bria, but I understand why she
Yeah, that's
felt
why
the
I
need to
said
defend herself. But at the same time, Silas needs to learn how to shut the fuck up. Bria needs to figure out who to talk to and when, and Jasmine needs to stop being so messy and check her husband.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
another thing. Jasmine should have checked him on that, but at the same time, that's why I
Mhm.
said, Bravo, y'all messed up. Because what y'all did was y'all made, even though Bria is an issue, Bria is manipulative. I do agree with him with that. I'm not gonna say
Yes,
he's
she
wrong
is.
with that. I'm not saying he's
Yeah,
wrong at all. But what I'm saying is y'all made it seem like she pulled this out of her ass, that
yeah.
comment and the race thing. And I more than guarantee if we actually listen to that car conversation from the beginning of that conversation, I guarantee you he questioned her first about her man and how she met him and how, because that's how that conversation seemed like it started. We only got the camera footage from the middle of it and to the end. And it was like, okay, see, this is where I have a problem because I really honestly I have a hard time believing. I just based on how history has shown us when it comes to black men, I have a hard time believing that that's really how that conversation started.
Mm, mm.
And the fact that
Well,
he got so defensive, also, I'm not gonna leave that part out because we ain't gonna move on. The fact that he got so defensive and brought up the military and brought up all of that, why do you feel like you need to defend yourself against something that is harmless?
I don't think there's anything wrong, like you said, with wanting black people to be with black people. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, it's important that everybody respects everyone else's choices, because not all black people, women or men, want to be or end up with somebody who is African American. You end up with who you end up with. You love who you
It's
love.
not even that. It was the fact that he said it's the women that's that needs to marry black men, and
Mm.
that's not even the issue in this country today, sir. That's not even the issue of the country.
Well, his opinion is his opinion, but the way these people handle it and discuss it, like the dynamic between the three of them, I think is very, very strange. What I will say that I thought was funny, probably a little mean, when Bria packed her shit up like she was leaving, and when I say nobody went to check upstairs, nobody seemed to care, nobody stopped what they was doing or gave a damn, except for Silas. He did attempt to talk to her, but what were your thoughts on that interaction between her and Silas?
Bria and Silas.
Yes.
So my opinions or thoughts on that would have been I felt like he was trying to make her get to where she was, which was angry. I felt like you just had a heated exchange with her outside on the patio. Why do you need to go check on her? You should have sent Jasmine or you should have said Jordan to go
Mm-hmm.
check on her. You did not need to go upstairs and further antagonize her, knowing she has a problem with you because you just completely dismissed how she felt and what she heard. That's why I said, once again, Bravo in the call center. I know y'all are watching this at this reunion. I need to know that full car conversation.
Yeah, if they do one. But I think with all the things that these people are arguing and have issues about and the certain things that are missed, they need to. So I hope that they do
Yeah,
a
they need
reunion.
to express what really was said in that car because I feel like for her to get that upset and for him to be that defensive, we
Mm,
missing a whole bunch of dialogue that we did not get because it didn't
yeah.
make sense. It didn't make sense for him to go and check on her. That was out of line, and I was mad at even Jasmine because then she gonna run up the stairs at the last minute. And based on what next episode's going to turn into, it seems like she's going to get mad at Bria. And I was like, no, man, you need to get mad at your husband because he didn't have to go up them stairs and go
She
check on
can't
her.
do that publicly. She can't do that publicly. She
What?
can't. She can't get mad at her husband publicly. She probably gonna check. I hope she check him in the bedroom after. But if I see somebody getting loud with my spouse calling them controlling, oh no, it's a problem.
But
It's a
also, I
big
don't
problem.
think your spouse, if there was a heated exchange with a woman,
He
I
won't
don't think
argue
he,
with the
I
woman, but
don't
I'm
think
just
he's going
saying.
to go upstairs and further antagonize this woman even more.
Either
Even though
way,
she is acting like a brat and she is manipulative, I don't disagree with
mhm,
what he said. I do
yeah,
not agree. I don't disagree with that. But the same way you're saying it to her, you're also equally as manipulative and
he
equally as bad.
is. I'm not doubting that. But when it comes to like marriage, like people have to understand that regardless if the spouse is right or wrong, they'll get checked privately, but publicly, united front regardless.
No,
It's
yeah, I
just,
would. That's why I said I don't expect.
yeah.
I expect you to say no. I'm going to go check on James. You don't need to go check on him. Let me go check because I know him. So let me go and check on him real quick, and then I'll be right back downstairs. I expect you to tell your husband that, maybe not in front of cameras, but I expect you to come and check on me if I, because you're the friend. Not say he's the extended friend,
Mhm.
is what I'm saying.
But see, their friendship with that situation is their friendship is not in the place where she
Why
would
not?
do
She's been
that.
doing this. She's been doing it this whole time.
She has not really, I think with the last few episodes, their rift has just been getting more and more separated. I mean,
It
nobody in that
is at the
house
same
wanted to
time.
check on Bria. Nobody. I'm like, it was funny a little bit, but then at the same time, you kind of felt bad. I'm like,
I didn't feel bad for her. No, I didn't feel
y'all
bad for
done
Bria. I
bonded.
didn't feel bad for Bria because I feel like she should have took a moment to collect her thoughts because she doesn't have a problem with articulating herself. She actually does it better than most of them.
She does.
But
It's true.
my problem with her is that you should have took a moment, collected yourself, especially if you knew the details, and
Mhm.
then went to Silas and said, "Look, I said he was staying for a week. You, out of all people, should know how traveling out of the country is, and it's not fair for him to do a full day of traveling, stay for 3 days, have to go back and do another day of traveling.
Mhm.
That you guys know that that's not a fair thing,
Yeah. But do
and
you
y'all are
think,
not."
I feel like the issue with Simon, I don't think it's a race thing. I don't think it's any of that. I feel like because in the beginning of the show, Jasmine was speaking about how Bria is known to constantly have these different men year after year, month after month. I'm feeling like maybe because she has a history of having so many men, they don't want to be in the house with somebody that she's not going to stay with. But either
Um,
way, I'm kind of tired of the issue. I want to see Simon come in this house and see if he gonna act right. Because if he act up, then what can she do and what can she say? So
well,
I'm
we know he gonna act up because there's a
we
whole
know,
situation. Yeah, we know
yeah,
he gonna act up,
yeah.
but that's kind of the teller that she needs.
Mhm,
Unfortunately, I hate it has to come out this way, but it's the teller that she needs on whether or not she's going to stay with him or not. And
mhm,
to get back to what you had said about her going with these different men, um, that shouldn't matter.
mm,
That shouldn't matter. If I'm
mm.
telling you this is who I want to be with, and I want this person to come to this house, it shouldn't matter if I'm gonna be with him next week or not. It shouldn't matter to you because we
I
can't
do
guarantee
agree.
that Silas and Jasmine. We can't guarantee y'all gonna be together next week.
Oh, we show can.
So
No,
I'm
I
not
agree
gonna.
because I have
Yeah,
friends like that they date all the time, every other month, move in with people constantly.
yeah.
Like
So
and they, oh, I want you to meet him. Let's go to dinner. Yeah, look, I'm here at dinner for the food, not your man. So I'll sit and I don't say anything and just wait for the next nigga to come
well,
around.
because Silas and Jasmine act like Simon finna sleep in the middle of them two.
It's very weird how they're acting.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes certain situations in the show go back to what you kind of said earlier. Like it seems like production or somebody wanted to tell y'all to do this because it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. And then even in the confessional, when production called her out and was like, "No, you did say this." No, I did not. I'm just like, you know what, whatever. I don't really care for Jasmine either, honestly, to return in the
Right.
next season. I'm just gonna keep it real there, but I do hope
Yeah.
somebody.
Bravo in the call center, supervisor, whoever you are that watches us. Um, I want a different dynamic of people. I
Mm-hmm.
want them to be strangers. I do not want anybody to know anybody. They can know each other in passing, a friend of a friend. That's fine. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want this dynamic because we're confused. We don't know who's really friends with who. We don't know who trusts who. So it's better if they're strangers to each
Mm-hmm.
other because then there's a whole level of trust they all have to give each other until it's broken because they're all in
Yes.
the house with each other.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, like because this is pissing me off. The fact that Jasmine is the centerpiece and is picky and choosy on who she wants to affiliate with that day, that pisses me off.
Mm-hmm. I can understand
So
that.
yeah.
I can understand that. I do think if you're gonna pick someone to be the matriarch of a show. Like she definitely needs to be a lot more consistent. However, she did show that she is messy, messy, messy.
She is, and
This
it's
episode,
frustrating.
just
Yeah,
messy, cackling and coming up with plans with the husband. At the end of the day, this woman wants her man around. So I'm like, I don't see the issue with the dude being around for only 7 days when you
right.
guys are here for, I believe they're there for a total of 15 days. So
It's not going to hurt anything for him to
it's
be
not going to
there
hurt.
extra
Yeah.
2 days. That is ridiculous.
So the next day we'll get into are the new people who came. We have Summer and we have Jason. So we'll start with Summer because to me she was a little like, eh. She is a writer. She went to Cal State University East Bay out here in the Bay
Shout out
Area.
to our hometown. Exactly.
Go you.
Yes.
We are from the Bay Area, so good for you.
Mm-hmm.
She knows Jasmine and Jordan. It wasn't really much interesting. She got kicked out of her sorority.
She was just there. She was
She was
blah.
just kind of
I felt like y'all brought her there on purpose to, they said, Jasmine, look through your call log and see who else you can bring to
not
this
your
house.
call log, James. Look through your call log and see who you've spoken to.
Absolutely, because I don't believe for one bit that she knows her as well as she says she does.
Do you think she's gonna bring anything to the show?
Nope.
No.
I don't think nothing. She is just there.
Yeah, she's definitely, I was underwhelmed her first introduction. So maybe she'll change her mind. I don't know. Personally, I feel like Mariah could have stayed or something to.
And I said that.
Yeah.
I felt like y'all should have just kept Mariah, have them two apologize and make amends, and then leave it at that because it wasn't that serious.
Yeah.
So y'all could have kept Mariah if we was gonna get this. Like,
yeah, I don't know, but I'll give Summer a shot. I will give her a chance. I like to try and give everybody the opportunity to like show themselves. I don't know what it's like to be on camera, so maybe it takes a while for people to show themselves. I don't know. I'm gonna try and give her a chance, but so far she seems normal, and nothing's wrong with normal, but I don't want to watch normal on my TV. I have normal in my life. Moving on to the next new person, that would be Jason, who is a flight attendant. He made it very, very clear that he wanted us to know that he is heterosexual. So, okay. He was one of the people who was at the Vineyard in real life when they went, I guess, in the previous summer. He was a part of that group of people who went. And fun fact, he was Jasmine's roommate while she was with Silas at one point. So that was interesting. I did notice real fast, just give my little points on him off my chest. He made a joke about Bria's boyfriend and his race. And then after discussing that with you prior, I feel like maybe that conversation about her boyfriend being white and being an issue came up because of Jason. And then I think to myself, Jason, you're good friends with Jasmine. So good that you were roommates. You're messy as hell. Like, it did not take long for him to show his colors. So, what were your thoughts on Jason?
So here's the thing. Did Jason?
You're breaking up, James. I'm not sure if people can hear him. So while we wait on James, I will continue with my thoughts on Jason. He seems like he's going to contribute a large amount of entertainment to the show just because he seems so comfortable calling people out, which I can definitely appreciate. So I think that with Jason, it might help to make the show a little more interesting. Other than that, there was not much that happened in the episode. So I will end my live stream here. James is not here any longer. He's having some internet issues. However, he will be back with me again next Tuesday to recap episode 5 of the season. The link is in the description to follow or subscribe to his IG as well as his YouTube channel at Watch Your Mouth Reviews 833. But I appreciate all of you for watching and hope that everyone has a good day. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.